Hi guys, welcome to a new video. We're gonna quickly go through Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin dominance and some altcoins you guys suggested on Twitter. First off, I want to thank the partners below. So if you're looking for an exchange and want a deposit bonus, check out both Bybit and Prime XBT. And I would also like to remind you guys that I do have a public Telegram channel, which you can easily ask me questions at or anything else for that matter. So I mostly post my tweets in there, and then people are free to discuss and ask me questions about it. And it's easier to communicate with me through there than on Twitter itself, because usually it's a bit busy there. So on Telegram, it's much easier to contact me. And there's a link to that channel also below in the description. All right, heading on to the charts. Bitcoin has been just basically been ranging in this area. Before we dive more detailed into it, I will say that obviously the Bitcoin Binance pair did go to like 38.5, because if you go, for example, to let's say the USDT pair, we can see this wick only went to like 38k. So in that case, we have already swept it, and this would be a liquidity grab or stop hunt or whatever you want to call it. So keep that in mind. But for now, this is basically main range I'm watching. It would be like approximately here if we go take the wick from the other exchanges. But yeah, we can see we're basically still ranging. There's no clear break. We tried it last week on Friday, but we got rejected again. And basically, it's been doing what we've been doing all this time, because we had the same kind of price action here, where we kind of just range, and we take the high and we go down. We do this kind of up only choppy price action, and then finally we broke out, but we fell over again. So it's basically been the case for the past month, and I don't think there's like a clear short-term direction until either of these levels are broken. I will say, obviously, the bigger trend is up, and we are at high time frame resistance. That's true. I think we might get like one more leg up upon ETF approval in the shorter term, if we get it, of course. But yeah, for now, I'm mainly just being a bit cautious, not going too crazy with any longs or anything, because yeah, the market has just been chopping up a lot of people, because we get these huge 10%-ish. Well, that's not 10% on BTC, but on alts, it's like 10% up and down and up and down. And if you're like your timing is wrong, or you don't buying the dead lows or shorting the highs, then usually the next day you're chopped up already. So I think it's a good reason, just sit back, let the market decide where it wants to go, because obviously last week was very eventful with all the Binance stuff. The market still is yet to digest some of it, I think, and we don't know the full impacts or anything. I think in the long term, it's pretty damn bullish. It's probably the best we could have hoped for. But yeah, I think the market will show its way on it by itself. So yeah, basically we are at high time frame resistance. We are ranging in the lower on the lower time frames, and I wouldn't like, obviously I would want to see if we want to give 38k another go, to have this holding as like a higher low, and the bulls would really have to crawl back up here, because if they don't do it, then this is just a liquidity grab. And in that case, I think we might just see a mid-range test, and if it doesn't hold there, then we might go for this 35k area, and that's where I would get interested again in longing or taking on extra exposure, as I think if we sweep this and we hold it, so we do this, for example, might even go to this wick, but I don't think that's gonna look very pretty. But if we bounce here, I think that's a decent place, depending on the market's reaction, of course. All right, moving on. To easily journal and track your trades, consider trying out Coin Market Manager. It's as simple as connecting your exchange API to the website to get your analytics ready. Sign up using the link below, get a 14-day trial, and I hope you really enjoy it. I know I've been using it for a while, and I can't go without at this point. EBTC still doesn't really know what to do. Obviously, the higher time frame, this is an important area. It seems like the bleeding has stopped for a while now, but there's also like not a real strong bounce just yet. I think this has mostly bottomed out, But I think this will get one more leg down upon BTC ETF approval, as BTC will pump and this will likely go down. Depending on how high BTC goes, I think this might not even make a new lower low here. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Ideally, this trades back above 0.55, because if it's just gonna slowly bleed back down here, that's not gonna look great. But I think above here, it's pretty good. And eventually, to really get some confirmation on a higher time frame reversal, you want to see these being broken. So that's the daily 200 MA and EMA. And Bitcoin dominance basically confirms this. I think there's a chance we get up here, but might be a bit far-fetched now, unless BTC really starts going crazy and goes above 40k. Then I think Bitcoin dominance can go up. For like confirmation of further altcoin strength against BTC, or like further to get any relative strength, I want to see this go below 52%. And then we can probably fill back down to here to like 48, 49. That would already cause for some nice moves for alts against BTC. Then onto the suggestions of altcoins you guys did on Twitter. Link is one of them. Well, I'm mostly just seeing this on the higher time frame. It's just super clean. We know this range for like 1.5 years. It broke out, basically extended all the way above the initial target was like 13-ish. Or like 11, depending on where you had your horizontals drawn. But we basically slammed through both of them. Now we retested it, we're kind of holding above this area. And eventually I think this 18-ish level will get tagged. But obviously, like, it seems like we're slowing down a bit. So it might not even be strange to see something like this occur. And then head there later on. But overall, higher time frame, obviously, we had this huge range we broke out. So that's all I'm interested in for these kind of coins, as they're in my long-term hold portfolio. And I'm not too worried about these shorter-term deviations or like the shorter-term moves. GMX was another one that was suggested. It's kind of been holding steady here, to be honest. Not as volatile as a lot of other coins. It's trading right above the daily 200 MA and EMA. The bounce it had from here wasn't as strong as a lot of coins. But I think it's looking okay. And ideally, it does hold around here. Like, I don't really want to see it go below here, because then I think we can't rule out like another tag of like 35-ish. But for that, I think the entire market would have to break down as well. But as long as we hold here, then I think we can eventually make our way up to like the 60. And if we can break that, obviously this would be a nice move. Like above 60, I think this is going back to the all-time highs again, which I mean aren't that high for this coin. It doesn't have like a previous cycle just yet. But yeah, 60 is the main area to break. I think between 60 and like 45-ish, we'll just keep chopping around. And below that level, I don't think it's going to look great in the short term. But overall, still bullish on this. Also, its fundamentals. Then PEAR, or PYR, whatever you want to call it, kind of similar to Link, as you can see. We had this huge range. We broke out. It got rejected against this horizontal here because like we had a few daily closes above, but couldn't really hold. This thing is super volatile, so this also shows you that you don't want to be holding this or like trading this on a short time frame, because you can see, yeah, you got these what is this even? Like 20% ups and downs. So as long as your stops are wide enough, then it's okay. But ideally, these are just spot holds, I think. Otherwise, you're just going to get chopped up. Main areas to break, obviously, the 6-7 area and 7-7. I think this would be a nice trade up here. Like, let's say it crawls back up and you retake this level. And I think you can easily fill up this gap to like 11, because as you can see, there's like little to no resistance here, and that's a nice area to then get back to. Azero, next one. I just drew these few horizontal lines. I think these basically summarize the pricing action pretty well. I mean, it's respecting these levels nicely. So what we saw is this huge move, and we've now been retesting the 130 area. I think as long as it holds above here, we can look for this upper region. If it were to lose this, then obviously just we go to the next one. That would be my last level to hold, like below there. I don't think it's gonna look great, but for now, like, I mean, obviously this is a huge move, and wouldn't think some consolidation up here is really weird, but eventually this is the level to watch, I think. And obviously after that, all-time highs, but that's for now a bit far away, but I mean, these things can go quick. Then ZRX. I've not looked at this coin in a while, but it got suggested by you guys. But yeah, this is kind of crazy because it's a huge huge move, obviously, just recently. I'm not sure if this was news driven. I would assume so, with a 60% bump. But just zooming out, obviously this is like a huge range. Like I'd say this area, you can see how all the moves came from basically this region. We look to be retesting it now. I think these coins are a bit scary because very often on these 60% daily candles, they do retrace like the entirety of it. I mean, it's already pretty much on its way. But yeah, if this were to retest down, I really like these ships for this kind of thing. So in this region where there's also obviously a lot of demand or accumulation or whatever, and then it starts crawling back up, I think that would be nice. But for this to really get going, I think it should trade above like the 50 cents area, which is also a nice physiological level. So psychological, sorry, not physiological. So yeah, that's an important one. And for now, it's just seems like a big rejection and maybe liquidity grab. So keep an eye on that and don't FOMO into these candles, because more often than not, they just retrace back to their origin, which in this case would be like right here. I think even 29 cents would be a decent region for this to bounce, and then from there on crawl back up. And then lastly, Blur. Obviously this had a huge move, mainly because of the Blast L2, which got announced or teased. So there's a lot of E that's also being put into this new layer 2, which isn't here yet, but people are just farming it now. And there was also a possibility to farm it with Blur. So they basically fixed two things for Blur here, because you could farm this new token with it. And they had their season 2 airdrop, which people got from trading NFTs or providing liquidity on Blur. So that got distributed, but for season 3, now you're getting this Blast token instead of Blur. So they basically killed the inflation for further seasons with this, or like at least this season. And as well with that, they gave the Blur token a function to farm. I will say there's some FUD about this Blast thing recently, so that's probably also why Blur has cooled down a bit, but I mean, this is a huge run. Overall, I think I would be interested again at seeing what happens at this 44 cents area, if it can kind of form a base here and then maybe get back up. But until then, I'm not too worried about this. Like, eventually, I think this will go up higher in the long run. I think NFTs will get another cycle, and then coins like Blur should do well. But for now, I think this move has mostly occurred now, and I would want to see some consolidation happening, because right now it's just been either up only or down only. So it's hard to really get a proper entry in if you weren't in already. All right. That's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Check out everything below. Don't forget to join the Telegram channel if you want to discuss the tweets with community members or with me. And yeah, I wish you all a great day, and good luck trading.